A dark childhood or a dark upbringing doesn't need to look a specific way. A person that experienced a lot of darkness in their younger years doesn't need to look like the stereotypical like child that grew up with alcoholic parents in a trailer park, and the dad was on drugs and was super alcoholic and was violent and abusive. Yes, that is a type of darkness in childhood, but it's not the only way that people can experience darkness in childhood. A dark childhood or a dark upbringing can happen in so many different ways, and a lot of people don't want to see this or to admit this about their childhood because I feel like they don't want to look at what the reality is for them. But yeah, darkness in childhood doesn't necessarily need to be that typical, the abusive parents that were alcoholic and live in a trailer park. It can also be, for example, a person that, like a gay kid that grew up in a super religious environment. Maybe, you know, that typical example of the kid that it's the son of a kind of like a pastor or something, that they can have kids. I don't know really, but they accumulate so much. Like in those cases, for example, people don't talk about how they repress their sexuality so much, and that causes so much trauma later in life. And that's just one example, but there are other more quiet examples, but still have a lot of impact in kids, for example. I mean, a lot of kids grew up with very controlling parents. I mean, we don't even talk about, but like so many kids grew up with super narcissistic parents, you know? And sometimes they're not even alcoholic, or they are not physically abusive per se. Although, like, maybe it's because I'm from South America, but so many parents are physically abusive. Like, I grew up in a country that a lot of kids, like a lot of families, just beat the shit out of their kids for because they didn't behave well. That's crazy. But yeah, not even that. Let's just tone it down a little bit. Just let's look at parents that are super controlling with their kids, and they push this idea of how they want them to be, what they don't want them to be, how, like, all the things that they want to do. And there's just so many cases, and we shouldn't just think that only like experiencing darkness as a kid, it's only like one specific way. It can happen in so many ways. And I was thinking about this lately, and I really think that, even though, like, I feel like a lot of people don't want to admit this to themselves, but most people, they didn't grow up in safe spaces. I feel like almost nobody really grew up in, like, in an environment where they can feel safe, and where a kid grows up in an environment with their nervous system regulated. Because that's the thing, most parents, I feel like so many parents are not intentional when having kids. They just have kids, and they're like, oh, you just figure out later, you know? I heard that so many times. And this will trigger people. I know, like, if people see this video, I know it will trigger so many people. But I truly believe in this, that parents should not have kids if they haven't healed themselves. And I really don't think that, especially the older generations, and even my generation, like, there are so many people that carry a lot of trauma that they don't want to look at, that they decide to avoid it, not look at it, and numb themselves. And then they have kids, and it's very selfish, because you're only pouring all that your subconscious to your little kid, all the stuff that you didn't want to work on yourself. And that's the thing, if people already have kids and they haven't healed themselves, do it now, you know? Like, I just think it's selfish to have kids and to not heal yourself and not work on all these things that you're supposed to work, and bring a life, like a newborn baby and pass them all your to them. And I feel like a lot of people don't really think about all of this before they have kids. They're just, it's what you're supposed to do, you know? It's like, that's the next step and you just need to do it. But yeah, the more I think about it, to me, it's very irresponsible. Very irresponsible. And this is not, I'm not saying this to like shame the people that already have kids and maybe they haven't put the work on themselves, but it's time to do it, you know? The more you're not only gonna heal yourself, you're gonna heal everyone around you. Because whenever you heal yourself, whenever you stop projecting, you basically like set everyone free. But yeah, I just think it's very selfish to, especially those parents that have kids to save their marriage, or those parents that have kids to just continue with the last name, or just that they want someone to take care of them. To me, it's just, but yeah, this is not for to bring shame to anyone, or even to the parents that just didn't heal themselves at all and brought kids. They did the best with the level of consciousness that they were at. But now we know better, you know? We're in 2026. And that's the thing, these parents that did this, their parents just did the same. And their parents just did the same. And their parents just did the same. And like they didn't do it on purpose. Like they were not aware of, you know? But now we can break the cycle.